Trader Tina here once again from ShortMeTina.com with my daily recap. Today is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. We're going to jump into a recap of the overall markets, but in typical form, if you learned or liked anything about this video, do me a solid thumbs up, comment in the comment section. Again, it helps to push this video out to other traders just like yourself that's looking for a little bit of guidance when it comes to TA, aka technical analysis. In typical form, we are going to jump in and start off with the S&P 500, the SPY. This is a daily chart dating back to 2017, always going back to 2017. Why? Because in my opinion, that's when this range here formed. Anyway, again, that's when this range here formed, and for me, it's more or less a pretty clean range outside of some sort of hiccups or overshoots. You can see here back in 2018, we sort of overshot to the downside and we overshot to the upside several times, most recently late last year, and we had like that 15 to 20% run before we collapsed and gave back all of those gains within 2 weeks these past few trading days. Anyway, today we closed at 274.25. It was not an update. In fact, we were down north of 5%. No circuit breakers broken, but we did manage to clock in a low of around 270, which is actually the lowest level we've traded down since this collapse started here. And technically speaking, I believe we are in bear market territory with the Dow. So anyway, someone commented, and I do read these comments on YouTube. Someone commented and indicated that they believe, and I'm putting up right now a 200-day moving average on the weekly, they believe that the market will get a bounce once it hits that 200-day weekly moving average, like it did when we pulled back in 2016, like it did when we pulled back in 2018. And the interesting thing about that are those were extreme levels, and I think this situation is very much so extreme. So there definitely is a chance that we get a bounce around that 200-day moving average, which is around 260 to 262. But interestingly enough, it also sort of coincides with the support level dating back to 2017, which is also 260. So to that trader, yes, I do believe we might get that bounce once it hits that 200-day moving average, which also coincides with support of 260. But we have situations in which the market actually overshoots those levels and bounds. So if we pull back, support doesn't hold again, I am still eyeing 2018 lows of around 233. I know there's a lot of panic out there, but believe it or not, I've been extremely cool and level-headed, maybe because I'm looking to, well, one, paying attention to my longer term portfolio, and two, looking to trade other sorts of environments. Like today, we actually were 2 for 2 in our speculative picks, around 25 and 30% respectively. So, you know, looking to find good trades in other areas and also focusing on longer term trades. And I'll talk about a few stocks that I think have the potential, not the potential, I think that there's some stocks that are down a lot that I believe at this juncture you can start initiating a position. All right, I'll talk about those later. What else? All right, really quickly with the IWM off about a little over 6%. You see a quote here of 125.92. Again, we've given back for the most part all of the gains that we saw from 2018 to most recently 2020, which was about 20 to 25%. We've given it all back in the course of around or the matter of about 2 to 3 trading weeks. Anyway, you see all these lines here, they represent different levels of resistance and support. Remember, there's more than one, or there can potentially be more than one resistance and support level on a chart. And based on this, I have several. So the IWM clearly slicing through all of them. The last one, or the last man standing, at minimum, at least going back to 2015 would be this level here around 120. We got relatively close to that today, 124.17. We bounced to close at 125.92. Heading into tomorrow, which is Thursday, and the remaining of the trading week, I'm going to be paying attention to the low, right? I call it the low because it's the lowest levels we've hit since that collapse that started when I was in vacation in New Orleans back in late or mid February. So I'm going to be paying attention to the lows of around 124.17. If we take that out, I feel like we're gonna drift to 120, but I can't say positive because you never know. But I think at that point you'll get a bounce with the IWM, because at that point I feel like it is really oversold. It does not necessarily mean that that bounce will stick, but I believe we're gonna get that bounce. So time will tell. What else? All right, and so in talking about some of those stocks that are coming into, and this is by no means me telling you to buy anything, okay? Please don't trade your plan. Anyway, but I'm definitely paying attention to Boeing. I've been paying attention to it for a very long time. It's off about 18%. Who would have thought that March of 2019, Boeing would have traded north of 500. Less than a year or almost a year later, it's trading at 189.08. I would not have believed anyone if they told me that. Again, you can see here this chart, daily chart dating back to 2017. Another 2017er. Support did not hold, right? That support level of around 320, 330 did not hold, and it's been a free fall since then. Because if you look back here, there's really no area of support down here. So hence why the market or the stock just continuously falls. Again, we're off 18%, closed at 189, but the low clocked in at 187, which tells me there might be more downside heading into tomorrow. And even if we get a bounce, there more than likely will be more downside heading into next week. And what levels am I paying attention to? Well, the next area of support, which is around here, let's call that, or give it a range, 150 to 160. At that point, I feel the stock would have been so depressed, so extremely depressed. Although there's a lot of uncertainty hanging over the company, I get it. But from a technical perspective, I think one can get a bounce. So I'm paying attention to Boeing. Maybe you should as well. What else? And then there's Starbucks daily chart off about north of 10%. Also paying attention to Starbucks. We see a quote here of 68.30. It's so funny. A while ago, another premium member pick got into Starbucks around, let's say, $48, $49 and sold on the breakout, sold it around 64, 65, saw the stock run all the way up to north of 100, kind of like cried boo hoo, I missed the rally, why didn't I hold? Long and behold, is coming right back to that territory like a gravitational pull, coming right back to that territory where I feel it would be, from a technical perspective, a safe buy. So pay attention to Starbucks around 60 to 65, somewhere around there. You might get that bounce if you believe in the story. What else? All right, and then we have Nike daily chart off about north of 5%. Another stock that I'm paying attention to that I want to own longer term for my daughter. She's a teenager in her longer term portfolio. I know these teenagers, they're very fickle. They really are. And they wear things that, I would have probably gotten crucified if I wore in high school like a champion. I mean, these kids are a little bit different, but Nike, believe it or not, is still up there in terms of, I don't want to say high fashion, but up there in terms of like sneaker wear, right? I'm not even sure if I've ever owned a pair of Nike. But anyway, I know a lot of people are quote unquote sneakerheads. A lot of people like the brand, like the company, and so does my daughter. So I'm actually looking to buy Nike in her longer term portfolio. It was really rich for me up here at around 104. Glad to see that it's pulling back. Even at 84, a little bit too rich for me, but pretty soon I can see myself building a position. There's some more, but that's just three that I'm paying attention to: Boeing, Starbucks, and Nike. Not telling you to trade them, right? These are just ideas. I can turn around a week or two from now and say, you know what? I'll pass on some of these for now. But these are just ideas, right? Ideas, stocks that I'm paying attention to. Do I have a penny stock that I want to go over before we wrap it up? Yeah, let me try to find one. All right, and so let's wrap it up with ticker TLSA, not to be confused with ticker TSLA, which is Tesla. Stock is up north of 100% today. Before I even checked why the stock was up, I said to myself, I'm pretty sure it had something to do with the coronavirus. and I'm not quite sure, but in the headline I saw coronavirus. Anyway, closed at 395. We're up a bit in after hours, an additional 6%. I see a quote of 420. The high of today clocked in at 770. So we're off considerably from session highs, and I'm so tempted. I am so tempted to trade this both on the short and long side. Boredom is not a good thing when you're a trader, but I am tempted. So I may just trade this tomorrow on either the long or the short side, and I'm going to trade it again either on the long or short side. I see a scenario where you can trade this both ways. Anyway, don't think I need to zoom into the hourly. The stock is off, like I said. Although it's up north of 100% on the day, it's off considerably from session highs of 770. Again, close at 395, up a little bit in after hours around 420. So for me, I'd be paying attention to, obviously, where the stock opens up, right? And you also want to put that in context with today's low of 315. I know it's a bit of a range, about a 85-cent range, but that's what I'd be paying attention to, whether or not we open up above 420 or today's closing price of 395, and also paying attention to session lows of, let's see that again, session lows of 315. Bear in mind, take note that there is a gap to be filled at 205, and while it may not fill that gap tomorrow or even next week, generally speaking, gaps get filled or the stock gets close to these gaps. So I fully expect at some point, particular TLSA, again, not to be confused with ticker TSLA, which is Tesla, at some point I expect it to trade down lower. Will that happen tomorrow? Well, I have to see. So pay attention to how it opens, pay attention to pre-market, and that should dictate what the stock wants to do. And I'm going to wrap it up there. Tina here, once again from ShortMeTina.com. If you enjoyed any portion of that video, I want you to do 3 things for me. 1, comment in the comment section. I've noticed that there's been an uptake in comments, even if it's a high. I agree with you, I disagree with you. Like that trader in the YouTube video says, I think it's gonna bounce off of the weekly 200-day, and I looked and I said, you know what, he's absolutely right. I don't particularly trade the 200-day. I do from time to time reference to it, but I don't trade it. I say all that to say, sometimes it's good to comment because you are informing other traders just like yourself, right? Yes, do I have a premium course? Of course I do. But I also do a lot of things for free, and you too can give back to the community by commenting in the comment section and letting them know your thoughts on these stocks, because if they're listening to it, chances are it is of interest to them. All right, so that was long-winded, but to sum it up, like and comment in the comment section. 2, I do videos every single day, like literally for the past year and a half, 2 years, I have done a video every single day, with the exception of about a week or 2 ago when I was on vacation. I took about 5 days off. It was my birthday, and I was just, I needed to reflect. So if you want to ensure that you don't miss any of those videos, hit that subscribe button, all right? And this is the last thing, 3rd thing right now. What I'm doing is I'm hosting a free 14-day trading course on our website. Again, it's free. All you got to do is enter your email, no credit card. Enter your email so I can know where to send these videos to. They're very simple and short. I mean, these are simple, short videos, but they would have helped me a lot when I first started trading or close to 20 years ago. Had I have known a lot of this, I would not have made the mistakes that I made. So if you find yourself constantly tripping on yourself when it comes to the markets, you're probably violating some basic rules, and I talk about that in my free 14-day trading course. So again, if that's something that you're interested in, definitely head on over to our website, ShortMeTina.com, sign up, become a member. Thank you for listening, and as always, thank you for the support. We'll be back at it again tomorrow.